Hey guys, this is Roxum087. I just want to do a quick update video of some of my stippling tools. So this right here is one of the first stippling tools that I've ever made. This is called the small waffle pattern. This produces a stippling pattern very similar to the salient arms and agency arm stippling. I also produce a version of this that's a little bit bigger. It's called the large waffle pattern. That one produces a stippling pattern very similar to Zevtech. And the reason why I chose these two kinds of textures is because it's very aggressive to the touch, it's very simple to do, and you can do it very quickly. So that's the reason why I decided to go for these types of patterns. And now I did a bit of an update to the tool just to make it more compatible with other soldering irons out there. So this right here, the one that I'm holding, this is the update. So notice compared to before, it's just ever so slightly different. The diameter of this particular area is the same as it was for this. But notice that the structure now is a little bit longer and there's a bit of a step down over here. Now the reason why it's longer is so that it can transfer heat a little bit better, and also you can push the stippling tool a little bit deeper into your tool, just so that you can have a little bit more security in the soldering iron. And the reason why I made this little bit of a step down over here is because there are some soldering irons out there, like from Japan or from Indonesia. Their soldering irons are somewhat small, and the inner diameter cannot accommodate this one over here. So I decided to size it down a little bit so it can fit those different kinds of soldering irons. That's the reason why there's a step down. This general diameter over here is for your regular stippling tools. To be honest, if you're in the United States or if you are in Canada or in Hong Kong, you can just use these regular soldering irons, and it will fit in all of them. All it does is that you just unscrew one of these screws over here. You just unscrew it, slip it in, and just tighten the screw, and that's it. That's all you have to do. This stippling tool over here is the exact same as this in terms of this rear structure, and it's very secure inside here right now. And just like before, the tool is made out of steel, like I mentioned earlier. These tools are made out of C55 steel. It is a very hard type of steel. And the reason why I made this out of steel instead of copper, which is a lot cheaper by the way, the reason why I made this out of steel is because of durability reasons. If you expose tools like this to a lot of heat, and you also have to clean it, is because if the plastic builds up over here, the problem with that is that you can wear out the tool super fast. If you make this out of steel, what this basically means is that the tool can withstand a lot more heat than usual, and also with the pattern inside over here, you can clean it a little bit better. It's because you can actually clean it with a knife or with a blade. That's actually the reason why I made this out of steel. Because when the plastic builds up over this, you can just take your blade and dig out the plastic, and you will not be able to damage this. It's because this steel is harder than the blade. Okay, be very careful if you decide to use this method. You can also use a bit of solvents, or you can also use a very thin knife. This will probably be harder than your knife, be honest with you. Although it is not hardened steel, it is still a fairly hard steel. So just be wary that if you don't want to damage your knife, don't use your knife. I just use a blade because it's very thin. Okay, this is just a cutter. So, and also, to make the cleaning process a little bit easier, can you see that all the squares are spaced out a little bit? I did this specifically for my method of cleaning the stippling tool, because I prefer to use a blade to clean it, and that's the reason why I widened and spread out each of the patterns over here. And just to give you a bit of a demonstration, you see the stippling tool right over here? This is actually, this right here is the small waffle pattern circular. The one that I was just showing you just now. This is the small waffle pattern circular. This is the large waffle pattern circular, but now the square size has increased by 1, so it covers more surface area, so you can stipple faster. So this is the reason why I made it out of steel. You can just clean it very aggressively like this, and you don't have to worry about damaging the tool. It's because the tool is really durable. Of course, orient the blade away from yourself. While the soldering iron is still on, notice that I'm not being gentle with the tool at all. And then there you have it. The tool is semi-clean again. See? You can see each of the pyramid structures, and they're all very clean. So you can start stippling right back again. So this is very convenient, is because it will make your pattern very professional looking and very consistent looking. So, and speaking of the pattern, this is the next thing that you guys want to pay attention to. So with my new updated stippling tools, these are called now the circular small waffle and the circular large waffle. So the big difference besides them being circular is that the large waffle has been increased by 1 square size. So there's actually 5 squares across or in the diameter. And this is the pattern that produces. Check this out. So right here, everything that you see here right now, these are all the small waffle pattern. Notice that the size of this is exactly the same size as the small waffle. Okay? This is what it can do now. Notice how distinctive each square is. If you look carefully, this is quite sharp. So this is just me experimenting just to see what it feels like if you bunch it up close without doing any cleaning. So that's with no cleaning, meaning you can see the edges very easily. This is with a little bit of cleaning. So this looks a lot more like the salient arms kind of stippling, a little bit more messy, but you can still see the pattern. It's still very aggressive. It's semi-sharp. Oh, by the way, I actually made these tools a little bit more sharper compared to the first generation. So that's the big difference right there. That's what produces this really, really sharp looking pattern. And this over here is the exact same thing, but instead of being a little bit more messy, I follow a diagonal direction. Can you see that that there's quite a big difference between the two? You can see that there's a difference. But notice that the pattern is quite sharp. If you look on the edge over here, they do stick out by quite a bit. And that's because the tool is extra sharp. That's the kind of effect that you guys can expect. This is with the small waffle pattern, with the one that I've been holding. Now, with the one that's on my soldering iron right now, this is the pattern that I can produce. Check this out. So if you look very carefully, look at how clean that is. That's a very, very distinctive pattern. So I'm actually going to stipple this right now, just to give you guys just to show it off a little bit. So this is the technique. You push down like this, and then top it off. Basically, when you're stippling, you do this. You sort of follow that pattern. Now, if you want it to be a little bit more messy, you just do that, tap it to clean off the edges. But if you want it to look very consistent and generate that very clean pattern, you push it down. Now, with the Zeftech tool, you have to be, with my large waffle pattern circular tool, you have to be a little bit more careful. It's because this can actually pierce the plastic if it's really, really thin. So, here we go. I need to practice the ones that I did below. But you can see that the pattern is there. It's quite aggressive. It's a lot sharper than it used to be. So just be wary that if you decide to do this kind of stippling, it's going to be very aggressive and much more. It might be very sandy for your hands. But if you're stippling, so that you can have permanent grip tape on your Glock, because that's basically more or less what stippling is, then you can go for this pattern. So check that out. See, now that's with a little bit more practice. Notice how I can get it quite clean looking now. That is pretty good, right? So this is as pretty, like, it's really aggressive. Like, compared to the small waffle pattern, the large waffle pattern is so much more aggressive. Keep in mind that the best situation to use this kind of stippling is if you're using gloves. In Milsim games, if you like to use mechanics gloves, this is the ideal stippling that you guys should be using. The reason why is because mechanics gloves, they're not comfortable, but they're very bulky and they're very durable. So many people like to use them for Milsim games. It's because they literally never tear on you. However, because of all the excess material and padding, sometimes your pistol or sometimes your grip can slip. That's when you should be using this kind of stippling. This basically solves all of your problem, is because this stippling pattern on the Zevtex, on this large waffle pattern, it virtually doesn't wear out much, if at all, and it stays very aggressive for a very long time. Maybe restipple it every year or once every 2 years, then you're good. Then you're good to go. This is by far the most practical one. This small waffle pattern one is mainly for looks. I can clearly tell that all of you guys are buying the small one is because you want the agency arms and sailing arms look. I can clearly tell what you guys are thinking. But yeah, so anyways, that's basically the update to all these tools. They're priced exactly the same as they were before, which is 150 Hong Kong dollars. It's not particularly expensive considering that this is made out of steel, and again, this more or less lasts forever. Now, there's one small little difference that I would like to note. You don't have to keep this in oil anymore. And the reason why is because we treated it such that you don't have to keep it in oil. You can actually just let it sit on like a little tray. It will just blacken, but it won't rust like the traditional method. However, if you keep this in water, of course, obviously this is gonna rust because this is steel, right? Well, don't do silly things like that. But yeah, so these tools are coming. So now officially on my website, I will have 4 types, basically. I will have my normal small one, normal small waffle pattern, normal large waffle pattern, circular small waffle pattern, and a circular large waffle pattern. I think this one is probably the one that you guys will probably be most interested in, is because this generates the most effective and most practical kind of stippling. If you guys want to check it out, I will post a few more pictures of this on my Facebook page for you guys to see. And again, these are all priced exactly the same as they were before. In US dollars, that's around 20 US dollars. It's not particularly expensive for a tool that's made of steel. And again, this will way outlast any other tool in the market. I'm almost certain of that. Anyways, that's it for the video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you guys think. Please feel free to comment, like, and subscribe. I also have a Facebook page that you can follow me on, in which I'll leave a link in the description box below. If you would like to support the channel, please visit my website at raidtacticalsolutions.com. There will also be a link in the description box for that. Peace, guys, and happy shooting.